Hey, good afternoon or good morning, wherever you might be from. We appreciate you being here. This is Glenn Setchfield, VP of Marketing for DMI. And just want to remind you that you are at the Old Annuities, New Advisory Fees, the book you're not billing on yet webinar. So we appreciate you being here. And you know, for many RIAs and fee-based advisors, annuities have historically been really difficult to address inside the advisory model. And that's why we're here today. So clients often come in with legacy contracts, riders, guarantees, and these held away assets that may not have been reviewed in years, right? But advisory annuities are changing that conversation, and they give RIAs a way to evaluate those assets through a planning first lens, preserve the client relationship, and then potentially bring overlooked assets into a more fiduciary aligned process. So at DMI, we believe this is where the puck is going. And that's why we created RIA Fiduciary Solutions. Just to give you a little background, DMI has been around for about 37, 38 years now. And again, when we see where the puck is going, we're going to respond to it. And that's why we've got this group you see before you today here to talk about that very phenomena. So joining us today, we've got Mike Thompson. He's the Director of Advisory Annuities with RIA Fiduciary Solutions. And then also Declan Donahue, who supports advisors through contract reviews and OID analysis. And then our good friend Nick Riley, the regional vice president for the BD and RIA channel at Mass Mutual Ascend, who brings deep experience in fee-based annuity sales. So today we'll discuss how RIAs can uncover annuity opportunities already sitting inside their book and determine what to keep, modify, or modernize. And we will kick it off with our very own Mike Thompson. Thank you
Hey,
so
I
much,
appreciate.
guys, for all of you being
Thanks,
here.
Glenn. Appreciate that, and welcome everybody. As Glenn mentioned, my name is Mike Thompson. I am the Director of Advisor Annuities here at RA Fiduciary Solutions. And on behalf of the team, I really do appreciate you taking the time. I know everyone's busy, but we're excited to spend some time with you today discussing, not only who you are, but more importantly, why we exist and how we can help better serve your clients. So
Hey,
it
Mike, you know what? Can
what?
I add one thought here? I just
Sure.
want to mention to everybody that, look, when we do these things, we love to keep the communication tight with our audience. So if you use the Q&A to ask any questions, that'll help us to ensure that we give you the information that you need. So just think of this as kind of like a one-on-one conversation with each one of us, and use that Q&A function, and we'll respond as quickly as we can. Okay? Sorry
Sounds
to.
good. Thanks, Glenn. All good. So today's discussion, we're going to talk about how we can best partner together, right? What's the value of that particular partnership? And then, of course, from there, we'll walk through how we can collaborate with you and your clients and really, I think this is where the biggest value comes in, is really from initial case design, product evaluation. Does an advisory annuity make sense for you and for your clients? And of course, implementation. Right. One of the things I've always known in the past of working, I've been in this industry for 24 years now, working with advisory annuities and in the outside insurance desk space for the last 4 to 5 years, is a lot of times it looks like annuities are clunky, hard to work with, and so forth. So we're here to kind of streamline that process for you and your clients as it relates to reviews and possible replacements, or maybe just new money opportunities as it may stand as well. Oh, that one here. Get that up. Click too quick. All right. Go here. I'm going to do something real quick here, folks. Sorry. Glenn, for some reason here, hold on. I don't know if you can pull it up, Glenn, and go to that first slide for me.
Uh, you
I
lost
got
your
it. I
presentation?
got it. I can do it.
Go ahead, Declan. Sorry about that. Go to that second slide. All right. Thanks, thanks, Declan. I appreciate that. All right, folks. I really appreciate. Sorry about a little technical difficulty there. So the future advice of fiduciary here at RA Fiduciary Solutions, we solve that, right? According to Goldman Sachs, 45% of insurers expect the biggest growth to come from the RA channel over the next 3 years. Okay, and right now, the RA channel ranks ahead of the independent channel, and of course the wirehouse channel as well. So we saw where the puck was going, so we decided to build RA Fiduciary Solutions for you, the fiduciary advisor. We can go to the next slide there, Declan. So RIAs need insurance expertise. They just don't generally trust where they come from. The fiduciary wall is real. Fee-only advisors define it up against the commission channel, right? Product push, all that kind of fun stuff. So anything that looks like the product sale in disguise, they don't like. So we're here to kind of help from an advisor annuity standpoint to help guide you and your clients through, from implementation all the way till getting it issued. And then of course you got the licensing gap on top of that. Most pure RIAs don't hold an insurance license, so even when the annuity is the right fit, they don't know how to implement it. That's where RIA Fiduciary Solutions comes into play. And of course, that blind spot. Many of you out there in the audience today have legacy annuities or outside contracts in clients' books. Those are right now, they're unmanaged, they're not being billed. That's value hiding right there in plain sight. And that's where we come into play to help you analyze those books to see if maybe there's an opportunity to take some of that older business on the platform, now move it into advisory annuities. Go ahead, Glenn. We didn't start this on the whim. We built this on 35 years inside these particular products. At DMI, we've been placing life insurance and annuity cases nationwide. So we know where the costs are. We know where the surrender charge schedules lie and where the compensation lives. So what we saw when we saw that kind of puck moving towards more fiduciary advice, we decided to build a new one for you, the advisor here at RI Fiduciary Solutions. Go ahead, Declan. The outside insurance desk built for IRAs. The key here I think for everyone, we handle life and annuity cases from end to end. And what I mean by that is design. I hate to use the term paperwork. It's more like it's e-application for us. Everything here was kind of built on technology. And then, of course, ongoing servicing, right? Not disrupting your model, your fees, or your client relationships. So the important thing is, remember here, you say the fiduciary. You remain the planner. We stand behind your chair. We never sit in it. We do the heavy lifting. And this is where I think a lot of the value comes into play from suitability, carrier selection, product selection. We use e-application. So everything's going to be done by a link sent to you, the advisor, and your client. For them, they'll sign in with the last four of their social, date of birth, sign the application. It's off and running. And then, of course, if you're licensed or not, if you already are, we can integrate into that. But if you're not, we execute underneath our licenses, right? And using our platform for you and for your clients. And then, of course, advisor only and always, no retail channel conflict. We never call your clients. We never market to your clients. Your book stays yours. We just stand behind it. The advisors we partner with today, it ranges. Insurance only RIAs, pure RIAs, of course, that maybe don't hold a securities or life insurance license, looking away to implement advisory annuities. And then, of course, if you're duly licensed but want a way to implement it that's seamless, that's where you can look at partnering with us here at RA Fiduciary Solutions. So we bring a new experience, of course. I think the big thing here, transitioning commission products to the fee-based model. And then, of course, asset optimizers, bringing those held away assets down under management to where it's fee billable And now you, the advisor, can manage those assets on an advisory level. It could be looking at protection focused. You know, I've been in the annuity industry for 24, 25 years. And over the last 5 to 6 years, annuities have changed a lot. They've become less expensive. Now they can look at adding some downside protection, look at doing some income features, maybe for someone who's looking for guaranteed lifetime income. That's something we can help with as well. And of course, revenue growth advocates, growing firm revenue with full fee capture. Your fee stays yours. Your book stays yours. We're just a partner alongside you. Full advisory product shelf here. Well, one thing we wanted to make sure we did is we checked all the boxes. So depending on what your client's trying to accomplish from a risk tolerance standpoint, from conservative MIGAs to, for example, fixed index annuities where you've got some downside protection, we got downside protection plus upside potential. Advisory RILAs, registered index links annuities. We're seeing a lot of the variable annuity market shift towards RILAs just because they do offer different buffer protections on the downside with very good upside potential as well. So we're starting to see that in the market. We want to make sure here at RA Fiduciary Solutions, we checked all those boxes, and that was very important to us. Backed by carriers, you guys already know and respect. Of course, we're going to have everything's going to be, as far as the carriers on our platform, very good financial strength, A+ rated and above. So we're going to have carriers like Midland. We've got Mass Mutual Send. Next, going to be talking here in a second as well. They're a very highly rated carrier. We've got them on our platform. But the key here is we remain objective through every case, right? So we're going to go with what the best fit is for you and for your clients. Depending on what they're trying to accomplish, go to the carrier and then look at different type of product solutions. And then, of course, full support desk behind every case. Internal OID, we're there for you. We stand behind you. We help implement it from beginning to end. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well. And of course, external advisory expertise. We can help with annuity design, product selection, and of course, the most important thing here, implementation, making this seamless for you and for your clients. And having those strategic carrier partner relationships as well. Mass Mutual's on here today. They'll be talking a little bit about that, about their products. So the tools, collateral, everything else is there at your disposal. The hidden opportunity, it's already inside the book of business. Many RIAs today hold legacy, annuity, and insurance assets that maybe have not been reviewed in years. So here at RIFS, we help advisors identify and evaluate these assets and explore opportunities that a lot of times are just hiding right there in plain sight. So opportunities to improve retirement income planning, maybe through some type of a living benefit to produce income now or later down the road. Reduce portfolio risk. Maybe look at a fixed index annuity, maybe look at a RILA to have some downside protection. And of course, look at modernizing portfolios. A lot of these times they were taken out 15, 20 years ago. The fees on the products might be 2, 3, 4%. We can look at, in many cases, reducing those fees to zero. And then it comes down just to whatever management fee you, the advisor, is charging your clients. And then, of course, pursue new revenue potential. No, we got a pool pop in here. And of course, reserve new revenue potential on top of that as well. So again, new advisory assets, reoccurring fee revenue. A lot of times I talk to advisors and I ask them simple questions. So, Joe, tell me a little bit about your book. How many clients do you have in your book? You might say, oh, I've got 400 clients. All right. Of those clients within that book, how many would you say hold an annuity? Let's call it 50%. All right. So what would you say the average contract size of that annuity is? 200,000. Okay. Well, that represents right there $40 million in advisory assets that can now potentially be moved into an advisory annuity. When you look at the industry standard for a fee, it's about 1%. And that right there represents to you, the advisor, in this situation, of course, not every book's going to look like this. That's $400,000 a year in annual reoccurring revenue to you, the advisor. So again, taking older assets that might not be you know, might not be producing any revenue. Now improving those situations and turning those into new advisory assets where we get that recurring revenue each and every year. All right, three ways the market serves RIAs. We chose the high touch ones. You're going to see self-service marketplaces out there, back office platforms. But here at IRA Fiduciary Solutions, with our 35 years of being inside these products, we design, we help with case design. We execute underneath our license, and we stay objective, multi-carrier, like we talked about here just a few slides ago. We remain objective. It's what the client's best interest is. A lot of times I'm speaking with advisors, and they might be bringing me a case where it just doesn't make sense for that client to move forward because they might have an embedded living benefit that just can't be beat. Or maybe they have some type of a small surrender charge. It just doesn't make sense. So a lot of times we'll work with you all the time. We'll work with you, the advisor, to make sure it makes sense for the client to do that particular replacement opportunity. Go ahead, Declan. All right, why this comes from DMI and why it matters here at IFS. It's not a guessing game. This is the next chapter of the organization, now just pointing to the fiduciary channel. So we've been around since 1989. We've been inside the products from a wholesaling, marketing, and case design standpoint. We know how these contracts really work, and that's what we can help bring to you, the advisor. And then, of course, we're on your side. We've built it for the commission. Now it's just more pivoted toward the fee-based fiduciary. All right, three ways to work with us. Pretty simple. Partner on a case. A lot of times I'll be talking to an advisor. He'll bring up a case and say, hey, can you review it for me? See if we can potentially, improve the outcomes for that client, reduce fees. Maybe it's some type of guaranteed lifetime income. So just partner with us on a case. We'll take a look at it and see if it makes sense. And then from there, help implement it. Modernize the book. Many clients have aging annuities inside their platform. We'll run a review and actually see what's surfacing right there in plain sight. And then, of course, opportunities to learn from us through our DMI University. That's some other things we have off with you as well. This is one thing I'm really proud of what we've done here at RIA Fiduciary Solutions, repeatable documented workflow. So how does it work? It all starts with an intake at riafiduciarysolutions.com. Declan's going to kind of give you a quick preview at the end of this presentation. It starts with an intake. That gives us all the information we need here at RIFS to process the application, right? Name, date of birth, financial objectives, all that kind of fun stuff. That allows us to begin the application along with, once we've come up with the correct design and approval. Nothing moves forward until you, the advisor, has basically put a rubber stamp on it. And then we execute it. You, the advisor, first is going to get a link from us to sign the application by logging in with the last four of your social and your date of birth. That's going to allow you, that's kind of your rubber stamp of approval to say, yep, this looks good. Go ahead and send it to the client. Client's going to get that same link, but they're going to sign underneath their credentials and sign that application. So again, repeatable, documented workflow. We've made it simple with that intake. And then, of course, we execute everything with our platform. All right, I want to thank everybody again. My name is Mike Thompson, again, director here of IRA Fiduciary Solutions. Really excited to work with everybody and see what we can basically do as far as from a partnership standpoint. So at this point, I am going to turn it over to Dick Riley, again, one of our carrier partners with Mass Mutual, and he's going to basically take it from here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that and the introduction and for having us on this call. So my name's Nick Riley. I'm with Mass Mutual Ascend, and a little bit about us. We're formerly Great American, and summer of 2021, Mass Mutual acquired us. So now we are Mass Mutual Ascend. We operate as a subsidiary of Mass Mutual. So you can think of us as an A++ carrier backed by an A++ carrier. So, a little history on the fee-based space. While we were Great American in 2019, we noticed a massive trend of advisors that were leaving the insurance-only space and the broker-dealer space and going into the RIA space. So, what we recognized is there's a need for a different type of product that can fit that business model, which is exactly what we launched with our fee-based annuities. So when we launched in 2019, people thought we were crazy. That was unheard of, right? We're launching an annuity that doesn't pay a commission. Well, what was missed out on was a couple things. One, because we don't pay out a commission on these products, we could bake very attractive features into the product that makes them tremendously better. So not only are you going to have a good story to share for your clients, that's going to, in my opinion, really blow out the commissionable space products, but it gives you something that will integrate to your business model. So just for context, 2019, advisors chose to do $36 million dollars of that fee-based business, which not bad for introducing a new business or a new type of product into this space. Well, we were correct about the trend into the RIA space. It is absolutely exploding. And last year, we did over $475 million dollars. This year, we are on a run rate to do over $600 million dollars. And I don't sit here to say that to pound our chest and flex, but just to say advisors don't have to do this type of business, but they choose to. And the reason they choose to do this in the RIA space is, again, not only is it going to be a better solution for their clients, but it also integrates into their practice as well, as a fee-based advisor. So in the over the last 2 years, we've been the top carrier in this space simply because not only is our product offering very competitive, but we've put a very large emphasis into the technology, into this type of products to, one, not only speak your language, but two, can integrate to your practice. So think of it this way, we can integrate all of these into your reporting and planning software. So if you're using, say, Orion for your client reviews, we can integrate all of these to that, so it'll sit on one easy to read report for your client reviews. So in other words, you're not going to have to print out your Orion statement and then go to our website and print out our statement and stack it on top. It's all one easy to read statement to make your life easier and make it easier for your clients to review. And I bring up Orion, we're on many platforms. Black Diamond, I mean, you name it. We send DTCC feeds, DST feeds. We have a Working With Us tab on this website. And if you go to technology integrations for RIAs, you can see everyone that we're integrated with. So that's something that advisors have absolutely loved in this space because it makes life a lot easier. But another resource that we offer and something we recognized is we do have traditional illustrations. And if that's the way you like to go, fantastic. The RIAFS team can make those for you, and it's very, very easy. But what we also recognized is you all speak a different language. You all are different types of advisors. We recognize that there is a pride in asset allocation. So what we wanted to put out was a tool that will really speak your language and show the benefits of adding this type of product to your client's portfolio from a portfolio construction aspect. So I'm trying to pull it up and it's saying it is unstable. So we may have to just go to the
Nick, let me know
PDF
if you want me
slides.
to pull it up. I can.
Do you have our portfolio simulator pull? Oh, here we go. It's going through now.
Oh,
So wonderful. So here's how this works. I'm going to walk you through this just to introduce our story to you. Let's say you have a client that walks in the door. I'm just going to say a valued client. So I'll just put VC and hey, they were born in, I'm just going to pick a random year here. They were born in 1967. So they walk in with $1 million of investable assets and you wanted to create a 60/40 portfolio for them. Well, we have a few different product options. Our best selling one is our fee-based FIA. So going to be a good complement or alternative to fixed income. So again, if we're looking at a 60/40 portfolio, let's compare it to that 40%. So let's just look at $400,000 here. So we can customize our allocation. Again, you can see the different asset classes we can add. But I'm just going to spread it evenly for the sake of this conversation, 20% across all of these fixed income asset classes. It's going to ask how much of this do we want to compare to our IP5, our fee-based FIA? Well, again, we're only looking at that $400,000 of that portfolio. So let's do a 100% comparison. And I'm just going to spread it across our S&P 500 allocations. Those are by far the most popular in the FIA space. And I'll click calculate. And what this report is doing is it's going to run over 5,000 different Monte Carlo simulations. And first thing I'm going to show you is a disclaimer. Everything we're pulling on this report, third-party data. And I bring that up because I don't want you to think we're pulling numbers out of thin air to make our story look pretty, but this is third-party data that we're running. And here's what our portfolio comparison shows us. So we're showing everything over a 10-year period. So again, 500,000 or 5,000 different Monte Carlo simulations with over a 10-year period. On the left will be that fixed income portfolio we built. On the right will be our fee-based FIA. So if you look at the portfolio value on the current portfolio, the fixed income, your 400 grew to 594, and the fee-based FIA significantly outperformed to 871,000. But again, there's more to the story than just saying, hey, our account value is bigger, sign here. Well, what else did this do? It takes your average return. So you went from 49.6, you jumped it all the way to 120%. So massive performance boost. And again, keep in mind with an FIA, as Mike mentioned, we fully take your downside, right? So there's 100% downside protection. So people look at this and they'll say your standard deviation. So in other words, the frequency and duration which your portfolio goes up and down goes from 15, it actually goes up. It goes to 34%. But remember, if we are taking your full downside and you have complete downside protection, I'd argue more volatility is good. You want more upside volatility. And what's being missed with this is you got to compare it with your Sortino ratio. So for those of you who use Sortino ratio, you know that this focuses on downside capture and risk-adjusted returns with a pure focus on downside capture. So think of this similar to your Sharpe ratio, where the higher, the better. So you go from 792%. Look at this. You jump all the way over 2,372% on your Sortino ratio. Your Sharpe ratio. So did you get paid for the risk that you took? Well, you went from 314% and you jumped all the way up to 346%. So again, by implementing this to your client's portfolio, we can offer greater return potential. We take away your downside to give you more standard deviation, which is this is where volatility is a good thing. We increase your Sortino ratio and we increase your Sharpe ratio. So it's a much better experience for your client from a portfolio construction aspect. But also think about your business. If you're charging your advisor fee and you're growing your AUM, and I were to put both of these in front of you and say, which one would you rather grow your AUM with? I mean, advisors are saying the one on the right, which is why we're seeing this story explode and snowball the way it simply has. So to get into a little more detail on the product itself, like I mentioned, because we don't pay out a commission, it allows us to bake more attractive features into the product. First benefit is from a liquidity aspect. Our Index Protector 5 MVA has no surrender schedule. There's no CDSC to it, which is huge. In the annuity space, you do not find that on the commissionable side. Now, there is a market value adjustment only if your client takes more than 10%, and it's only applicable in the first 5 years. And if we see interest rates go down, we see those MVAs go up, so it makes the liquidity story even better, which we have seen over the last few years. But from a rate perspective, you'll see we're banded at 250. So 250 and over gets a higher rate, 250 and under gets a lower rate. I'll focus on the higher rate just for the sake of this conversation. One of the great features we have in here is just a declared rate. And it's in at 5.15. Think of this. This is just a fixed account. It credits daily, compounds annually. You can elect to choose it on a 1-year basis, or you can guarantee that rate over 5 years. Right there, we're seeing a lot of sales come in for cash alternatives, money market alternatives, CD alternatives, because again, it's going to bring that asset under your management and it's going to get the client a better rate from an A++ rated company, something they're not finding out there. One of the nice features on this product as well is you can charge your advisory fee from the annuity. You can pull your advisor fee from the annuity. That's something that the RIAFS team will help you with. They'll walk you through. It's very easy. You can pick when you charge it, how you charge it, in advance, in arrears. Do you want to do it annually, monthly, quarterly? All of that good stuff. So you can line it up with your managed accounts. And I bring that up because sometimes advisors look at this and say, well, if I go into one of these index strategies and it's a down year and I'm pulling out, let's say 1%, my client's going to see a down year, which that is true. So what we see a lot of advisors do is they will allocate a portion to these fixed accounts, these declared rates, to offset that from happening. So if you put roughly around 20% in there and you're charging, say, 1%, that can cover your advisory fee. And again, these credit daily and compound annually. Now, where we're seeing the most of our flows go into is on the S&P 1 year point to point with cap. The way this is going to work is, again, there is no downside here, and your clients will be tied to the S&P. They can get up to 12%. Now, I cover the commission product and the commission space as well. I'm telling you, there is nothing close in the commissionable world that even touches this, especially from an A++ rated company, to get that high of a double-digit cap. This is what I'm talking about when I say because we don't pay out a commission, we can bake more attractive features into the product. There's also other index options. If you're looking at real estate right now, we have the iShares US Real Estate ETF with a 17.5% cap with no downside. So again, if we see interest rates start to come back down, that's going to be very healthy for real estate. And this is a great way to get exposure there. And again, there is no downside. If you prefer participation rates, we have that too. So we have the S&P risk control. You are getting 95% of the growth on that index uncapped. So if you're familiar with this index in this space, most companies manage this to a 5% volatility. We manage this to a 10% volatility. Again, if we're taking your downside, more volatility, the better. So for the last 6 years, this thing has been up 15% or more. And you will get 95% of that. We have unique indexes with our US retiree spending. If you want international exposure, we have the MSCI EFA at a 14% cap. If you like First Trust, we have a couple options there with a 1 year cap and a locked in 5 year cap as well. So again, very competitive product wise that we've put out that will again fit your business model. So where do we look? Where do we go fishing? One thing that's already been alluded to and where we're seeing flows is 1035 exchanges, and Mike nailed it. There's a lot of just dead annuities out there, and if you've come across those, this is a great way to not only put your clients in a better situation because we have better rates, but again, you bring that asset under your management. So it's a win-win for not only your clients, but for business as well. Here's the other big one we're seeing quite a bit of is inherited annuities. And this is huge in this space. And we tell advisors this, listen, if you're not an annuity advisor, that doesn't mean your clients don't have them. And it doesn't mean your clients are not inheriting them. And there's a lot of really good things you can do for your clients' beneficiaries when they inherit this. Something that advisors miss often is that Secure Act did not impact non-qualified dollars. So if you have those old non-qualified annuities, let's say my grandma has one, she put 500,000 into it and it grows to $1 million and she leaves it to me, that's great, but I'm on the hook for $500,000 of taxes. So what I could do in that scenario is I could do what's called a post-death 1035 to Mass Mutual Ascend. And I can stretch that out over my life expectancy. The out in 10 rule does not apply to non-qualified annuities. And we are shouting that from the rooftops because there's a lot of benefits to that. Again, we can put it into growth mode with the rates that I just showed you. I would be able to spread that tax liability out over my lifetime because I could take RMDs based off my life expectancy. Remember, I can always take more, but I have to at least take that RMD out. So I'm not getting a huge tax bomb up front. I'm going to spread that out over time and make it more tax efficient for me when I inherit that. If you're coming across Benny IRAs, we take that as well. So we're going to follow all the IRS guidelines that the out in 10 rule applies. If they're an eligible designated beneficiary, we'll let them stretch it. All these cases will go through legal. They're going to double check that we have correctly set this up and we're following all the IRS rules. And I bring that up too because that does add an extra step to processing times, but it's for good reason to make sure we're in line with the IRS guidelines. So again, inherited annuities are a big deal. Something that doesn't get talked about with annuities is this can be a great tool to keep assets on your book for generations. The biggest threat to you as an advisor in the RIA space is losing assets off your book. So we have ways that you could set this up and leave it to the next annuity on your book, and you can keep charging your advisory fee. So scenario, I'll paint a picture for you with what we can do here. I'll get a call, I feel like almost every other week where, hey, I got this, let's say 93-year-old. She'd be perfect for your contract. She's just looking to leave money to her kid. But 93 is too old to get into this. So do you have any outside the box ideas? So I'll ask them, well, do they have a living trust, a revocable trust in place? And in this specific example, they did. So here's something really cool that we can do that's really powerful. What we did is, let's say 92-year-old I was talking about is Helen. So she has a living trust, so it's tied to her social security number. What we can do is we can make that trust the owner. And anytime we have a trust owned contract, it needs to be the beneficiary as well. So this is great for Helen because it's tied to her social security. She still has control of the asset. But because it's a trust owned annuity, that's not a person. We need a measure in life on these contracts. So that's where the annuitant is a big deal here. What we can do is, let's say her daughter Megan is the trust beneficiary on that revocable trust. So because of that, we can make her the annuitant. So here's the powerful story. So when Helen passes away and that trust dissolves, as a company, we look at it and say, wait a second, Megan, the annuitant, that's the driving force of this. She's still alive. So because of that, Megan does not trigger a death benefit here, but rather ownership is going to be transferred to Megan. That is a tax-free exchange. She does not enter claim status at all, but she continues to take over the annuity as if it was her day one. And again, remember, this asset is under your management. Now, Megan has become a client to you as an advisor with this asset that stays on your book for Megan's lifetime. And then say Megan passes away, she can name a beneficiary that can do a non-qualified stretch. So again, the asset is staying on your book and is staying for another generation. If that person passes away before the stretch is complete, they get to name a fourth person to complete the stretch. So you just created 4 generations of tax deferral that stayed on your book for 4 generations. So again, something that gets overlooked is proper legacy planning that can create sticky assets that stay on your book. So I'm going to stop there for the sake of time, and I will pass it back to the RIAFS team.
Cool. Thank you. Just going to share my screen once more. We're in the 9th inning here, so I know everyone's running out of time here, but I just want to take 1 minute to show everyone how they can really engage with us when an insurance opportunity comes up. I'm Declan, by the way. I work alongside Michael, kind of as his internal support. And yeah, so obviously we love to hear from you folks. We love taking your calls, but we know you're very busy. So we tried to really streamline our process here on our website at riafiduciarysolutions.com. So when you visit the website, you'll notice 2 resources that advisors use really most often. So that's this Get a Quote button and also the Submit a Case. But first, let me take you through the Get a Quote. This is really designed for those early stage conversations you're having with clients. So maybe you're sitting with a client who's exploring guaranteed income, principal protection, or really just simply wants to know what options are available. You're not necessarily ready to submit an app. Let's say that. You just want to see what's kind of out there and see what we can find you. So you can go to Get a Quote. This form allows you to really just send us the basic client information and planning objectives. And we'll quickly put together customized illustrations and product comps, really just from across our carrier partners that you saw earlier. So It's just a fast, low pressure way to evaluate solutions before deciding on a recommendation here. So once you've identified the right strategy and the client is ready to move forward, you can go to submit a case here. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback with our submit a case tab here. This is our universal annuity intake form. Pretty much everything we're going to need from you and your client is right here.
Hey, Declan, we're not seeing your screen, your share screen.
Or not.
If you could try sharing a different way. There you go.
My apologies. So you'll see here, this was to get a quote. Click on this, and this just allows us to kind of see some product comps and illustrations. And then if you go back to submit a case, this is our universal annuity intake form. Like I said, we've gotten incredible feedback from this. Rather than really just trying to determine which carrier or product specific form you need, we've just consolidated everything into one simple advisor-friendly intake form here. So you provide the client's info, the planning objective, and really any existing contract details if you're reviewing an old annuity. You'll see here we've created a place to securely upload any in-force illustrations or statements right here. So you can choose that, and you can upload a file right there, which is nice. There, the heavy lifting really becomes our responsibility. We'll review the information, coordinate with the appropriate carriers, like Mass Mutual here. We work closely with Nick. So we'll prepare any updated illustrations, and really when you're ready to just go, we'll generate that EAP for you, and it's a very simple process. So just designed to eliminate any unnecessary back and forth. No searching multiple carrier websites, no guessing which forms you need. Just one streamlined process. So we don't have to jump back and forth with the client and back and forth with you all the time. So whether you're simply looking for an illustration to our deck quote or ready to move forward with the intake form, we're ready to go. We're ready to help you make it as simple, efficient, and user friendly as it can be. So like I said, a lot of great feedback, and thank you for your time. So I'll kick it back to Glenn here.
Thanks, Declan. Declan's connection was a little bit rough there. Just to clarify, there's two buttons there you want to use, either get a quote, and that'll trigger all that get a quote data over to Mike or Declan, and then they can respond to you with that quote and help you with any questions you might have. And then the submit a case will actually submit that case and run you through the process there. But
It's also, Glenn, just to add on to what you're saying, it's also important to know that this is all done securely. So if you upload a client statement to us through Get a Quote or through Submit a Case, and all the client information you provided us for an application, all that is done securely. So once you do submit the case all the way through, it's not floating out there in space. It's all done securely, so you can, rest assured your client's information is being protected.
Yeah, no, absolutely, great point. We do have a question. If I already run held away annuities through another desk, what's actually different about how RIAFS handles billing and the advisory fee? And does it show up on my quarterly statements the same way as the rest of my AUM? Can somebody answer that question? We've got a couple questions here.
Yep. Answer to that question is yes, right? So we data feed all we use Orion, Black Diamond, everything else from a data aggregation standpoint. That'll be fed to you. You'll see that it's all transparent for you to take a look at. What's different? I think the biggest thing is we're a little bit more boutique-y. We're hands-on. We're going to work with you, the advisor, and your client to come up with the best solution that makes the most sense and implement it in a very efficient manner. So I think that's what really, I touched on that slide when I was doing my presentation. We chose the high touch one, and that's what we're doing here at RIFS, is we're really putting efforts into the case to make sure it's going to be the best fit, it's suitable, all that kind of fun stuff as we run through that.
Here's another one. How does this fit my existing RIA and ADV? I don't want to bolt on something that creates a second layer of compliance or a conflict I have to disclose, et cetera, et cetera.
Nope. So you're working underneath all of our licenses, right? So you, the advisor, we're going to get you registered with the carrier. So we got Mass Mutual on the line, for example. We're going to register your RIA, and then myself and Declan will get you, the advisor, registered from a fee standpoint. So you're going to tell us, what percentage, let's call it 1%. You want to have that billed quarterly. We'll take care of that. And then from there, the carrier is sending your fees directly. So it's not an added layer. It's saying to make it more efficient, what it comes down to, Glenn.
Okay, great. Good answer. Another question. What's the all-in cost to me and to the client? I need to compare your fee against what I'm paying the desk I use now.
Easy way to answer that question, zero. So we don't have a membership fee. We're not going to charge you annually. Your cost to the client, for you, the advisor, is nothing. The cost of the client is whatever fee you, the advisor, has agreed upon with your client. So if it's 1%, for example, that's what it is. For just to kind of give you an idea, because I'm picking on Mass Mutual because they're here. They don't have zero fees on their fixed index annuities. So at that point, now it's just whatever you, the advisor, is charging, and we don't charge you a platform fee whatsoever. So no membership fee, anything like that.
Yeah. Uh, well, that's pretty much it as far as questions. We did have some people asking for the slides. So I don't know, Mike, if that's something that we're able to share uh, with the group. Do you think that's something we can share, assuming that they understand they can't use this with clients, et cetera?
Let's run that through
Calls.
compliance before we answer that one.
Yeah, just have them give us a call.
Okay, sounds good. Um, and then everybody, I've got Mike Thompson's contact information up on the screen right now. His number is 781-919-2327. It's M Thompson at riafiduciarysolutions.com. Or you can just scan to connect with him. That'll give you his contact information and also the ability to schedule a Calendly appointment with him if you so like. He can answer any kind of question you might have, product concept, what RAFS can do
Mike,
for you.
do you want to answer this one last question we just got? It's how do we
Sure.
get paid? How does Mike and Declan get paid essentially?
Oh,
Uh,
how does Mike and Declan get paid? That's a good question. So
It's a great question.
it is a good question. Remember, we get paid by the insurance carrier. That's what it comes down to, right? So your fees, say your fees. So if it's 1%, whatever it may be, for example, utilizing Mass Mutual, the client has zero M&E. So the client has no cost. It's just whatever to you, the advisor, that you're charging your particular client. So how does RIFS get paid? We get paid directly from the insurance carrier. Does not affect your client, does not affect you, the advisor.
Good answer.
Mike,
Good question.
That's a great question because I come across that quite a bit. I have a quick question for Nick, if you don't mind, Nick.
Fire away.
All right, quick question. So on your fixed index annuity, client chooses a 5-year. Let's say they choose the S&P 12%. Right now, it's currently that's the upside potential. Once they're in, is that 12% good for the full 5 years?
There are renewals. So again, we talk about benefits of not paying a commission. It takes pressure off the product.
Okay.
Another part of that is it takes pressure off the renewal. So we've been consistent with hitting all of our renewals. Um, and we do have another product if that is a concern. And hey, I don't believe you, right? Even though you've hit all of them, I've done business with other carriers and they've dropped it. One of the products we offer is our IP7. That has a guaranteed cap rate of 10% that will never ever move on you. So if you are
Okay.
looking for those guaranteed cap rate features, we do have those available.
So just a little bit lower as far as percentage, but it's guaranteed for that full time frame, correct?
Correct. Correct.
That's great. That's good to
And we
know.
publish those renewals
and
as well.
and Mike, we got another question.
Yeah.
If someone's working with a BD, can they still work with us?
Yes. I believe that's the case. We'll get back to the advisor on that one. As far as working with a broker dealer, if you are a let's call it a hybrid RIA or whatever it may be, as long as you are registered as an RIA, I believe you can work with us directly. That is correct.
Good stuff.
Great. Thanks.
Any other questions from the audience? Now's
I
your
don't see
time.
any others.
So I think, though, guys, this has been really great. And for those that attended, we really appreciate your engagement. We'll be doing more webinars in the future, and we'll be sure to get everybody invited to those. So reach out to Mike with any questions, and then we will follow up with everybody with a recording. And for those that have requested the slides, we'll get those to you as well. Um, Oh yeah, so here's another good question too. Appreciate it. Um, are you working directly with DMI? How are you connected? Mike or Declan, do you guys want to take that one? Explain that a little?
I'll let Declan take that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so DMI's, been in the distribution channel since 1989, working with financial professionals across the board, insurance agents, BD reps, RIAs, you name it, really. And with that being said, the leadership team has kind of recognized the industry trend of a lot of folks moving that to the fiduciary model. So this is a DMI owned company, RIA Fiduciary Solutions is, and it's strictly for that fiduciary channel, distributing advisory annuity products. So just kind of skating to where the puck is going to be, um, and where it's going. So
Yeah, we have advisors that have been working with us, you know, past 10, 20 years on the DMI side that are now looking to maybe slide a little bit more towards advisory advice and fee-based. So that allows them an opportunity to still feel comfortable with the fact they've worked with DMI forever. This is just now an extension of it to where now they can now do advisory business along with commission business as well that they've been writing for the last 10, 20 years, whatever it may be. So very natural transition. This is just a division of DMI where we saw that puck going towards fee-based, and this allows you, the advisor, to now, I think, diversify your business a bit more if you are deciding to kind of go that advisory route.
yep, couldn't have said it better
Perfect.
myself.
Thanks, guys. Good response. Um, all right. Well, I think we're about there, guys, in terms of time. And again, thanks for all the input, everybody, hosts and audience alike. And feel free to follow up with Mike again, and we will follow up with you on the recording and a few little tidbits, additional pieces of collateral along with that. So, but
Perfect.
thanks for the time, everybody. That'll conclude the webinar for the day. See you
Thanks,
in the
Nick.
next one.
Good.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you very much, Nick.